Well, hello, hello, hello. It's Sean Marn of Successfully Social with an absolutely amazing show today. I'm so pleased that you've been able to join me. Do you know what? Cynthia said she was just putting a cell phone off, and to my great horror, my cell phone is going off in the corner. So what a great start. But welcome, welcome, welcome to Successfully Social. And a big shout out to our amazing guest, Cynthia Bazin. Hi, Cynthia.
Hi, Sean. Great to be here.
Yay! Big shout out, and we've got to have some drums. Yeah, fantastic. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And of course, it wouldn't be the same without my inimitable co-host Sandra Watson. So again, Sandra, drums I think this time. Great to see you. How are you, Sandra?
Maybe you should. I'm great, but maybe you should use crickets with me so I don't talk as much.
yeah, perhaps we should. Where's the crickets? Let's have a little bit of crickets there. That's fantastic. So welcome everybody. Now, I've got to say, anyone who saw the trailer would have seen the fact that when I was trying to put the trailer together, there were a few edits, it has to be said, within the trailer. And the reason that there was that as I read Cynthia's resume, I was so excited about all of the different things that Cynthia had done that literally the journey from correction, I'm going to say this wrong, I know I'm going to say it with my Brit accent, I want to say Connecticut, but that's clearly wrong. Right the way through Las Vegas Private Eye to SmartChic CEO. Cynthia's obviously the CEO and founder of SmartChic, and Cynthia's going to be telling us a lot about what she does there. But absolutely blew me away. So Cynthia, rather than me completely chew it up and get it wrong, I just wondered if, for those people who may not be too familiar with you, if you could share a little bit about what you do and where you are at the moment.
All right, sounds good. Thank you again, Sandra and Sean, for having me here. I'm thrilled to be here. You guys are absolutely fantastic. So a little bit of my backstory. I mean, the company that I own today is called SmartChic. It's a premier mentoring company for women to help them get them laser focused in their goals. They may feel overwhelmed and stuck in one area or so of their life, so I get them really clearly focused on where they need to go and to achieve their goals. My backstory is that I was 20+ years in the corporate world, and my career started working in the prison system in Connecticut. So I started off in Connecticut working for the Department of Corrections, moved up the chain and became a captain there and head of internal affairs. So very different than what I do today, but it became a niche for me, doing investigations and interviewing. My background, I have an educational background in criminal justice and a master's degree in psychology. So that's where it all started. Quickly, to just go through it, after working for the Department of Corrections for 10 years, I became a fraud investigator for Sprint, the phone company. After that, I was a private investigator in Las Vegas and headed up casino security for multiple resorts and spas there. And then from there, I decided to go into the entrepreneur world and start my company, SmartChic.
Well, how do we follow that? I mean, the first thing I'm going to do, because it kind of exemplifies a little bit about your journey. The journey's fantastic, and we're going to touch on more detail in a minute. But I believe a good friend of yours, Dave Moore, has joined us. So Dave Moore makes the point with all of your background. Dave, if I can pop it back on there, get smart, get smarter, get SmartChic on your side. Who would disagree with that? So big shout out there. Thank you, Dave. And shout outs as well to Tanya, who tells us that we all look smashing. I think some of my Brit influences are coming off on Tanya. We all look smashing. That's fantastic. And Marsha's just about to join us. That's fantastic. We've got quite a few people joining us now. So what an amazing journey then. And I think it would be fair to say that you know a little bit about human behaviour from the different journeys you've had. So from the penal problems to investigation to private eye to SmartChic, are there? It may sound a bit crass, but are there any commonalities at all in what you see, Cynthia?
In regards to the issues that I found as a private eye to what I do with SmartChic?
Yeah, so I suppose. Yeah, it's a good distinction. So I'm guessing. Yeah, thanks for that. I guess when people come to you as clients now, they hopefully haven't broken the law. So it's a different sort of category of person you're dealing with now. But they may still have some of the blocks and hurdles and barriers and concerns that maybe some of the more extreme cases you dealt with in the past did. So I'm kind of curious as to, on your journey, did you find the learnings that you had from the earlier part of your career are really helpful in terms of the coaching and consulting that you do now?
Absolutely. You know, in the investigation world, when I'm interviewing people, okay, we'll start with the investigations, is that typically when I'm talking to people is that, you know what, they've made some sort of error in their life, and there's a reason for that. And so, you know, with my work there and what I do to now, it's typically a number of things that people are either unhappy, they've done something wrong in their life, and they're looking for change. They want to do something to better themselves. Nobody wants to, you know, live a life that, you know, is just unfulfilling. So yes, there is some commonalities, is that usually, you know, people that I talk to have a couple different things that they don't have in their life and they're really yearning for. And number one is really support in their life, is that a lot of times they're really not going for it in many different ways, because either the people around them are toxic, negative, or they just don't have good mentors, people around them to support them and inspire them. So that's definitely a commonality of what I see with people. I see a lot of overwhelm. You know, people are just stressed. They're trying to do so many things in their life. They're trying to be a good parent. They're trying to get their business started. They're throwing out there all these different things to do with their business. They're trying to keep their health in place. They're trying to keep their marriage or their partner, you know, ship together. So people are in complete overwhelm with life, and there's so many different reasons for that. So I see people, you know, coming with that. You know, and a lot of people are beaten down. You know, life is difficult sometimes, and, you know, things roll downhill. When one thing happens, doesn't it seem like everything just comes, you know, whether it's good or bad? And so some people are really down here. They're feeling really frustrated about life. And when you pump them with inspiration, you know what, they're just not motivated. They don't even know where to begin because they feel so beaten down that, you know what, I don't know if I can do it anymore. And the tools. And the last thing is that I don't even know where to begin. You know what, I want my life to change. This is how I've been doing it. I've been in this mouse wheel going round and round. I want to change. How do I do it? I have no idea. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, do you know, that's so powerful, and it does make me think that it's not necessarily that the person doesn't want to do something, it's that they're stuck, from what you're saying, and that they're beaten down, as you said, and it's very hard, isn't it? It's easy to be motivated when you're on that virtuous circle of already being motivated. It's very easy to keep sparring upwards, but very difficult to pull yourself to that place when maybe you look around and everything isn't as you would like. Now, I'm conscious of the fact I haven't invited Sandra in at this stage, so before I get up on one of my big Brit long speeches, Sandra, you've got some experience of this as well, haven't you? You've worked in business, you've worked with different people. What do you think about what Cynthia's saying so far?
Well, I think that certainly that the way that you describe the commonalities is very true, because people, regardless of what they're doing, when they're starting something new, it always brings in the past. That's your point. That's your point of reference, because you don't have anything but that. And what you do is a very interesting thing, trying to turn that around, which is no different than going through counseling or learning life and so forth. You know, the other day I was thinking, we always say a leopard can't change its spots. However, think about the person who's been negative all their life, and then all of a sudden the light bulb goes off and they realize that I don't have to do this. I don't have to be negative. There is a better way. So the spots do diminish and eventually go away, and all of a sudden 10 years later you realize that this person is no longer that negative person that they were 10 years ago. And that's what you're saying, is that you have to start with that point where they are negative and help them transform into that other place to where they can get on the right road. And when they've been in the system, that's a tough one.
Tough one. It's a tough one because all that negative energy and all that stuff that's coming at them, you know, that's what's embedded in their brain. That's what their daily life is. So, you know, for someone right now who's out there that might say, you know what, my life really sucks, and you know what, and I need to change my entire life. You know, the reality is, and I put it out to my mentoring clients, you know what, it is not going to happen overnight, and we can't change everything at once. But baby steps, you know what I mean? And what's the most critical thing that we need to take care of now? What is the deepest need that we need to change to lighten up the load, to make you feel, you know what, okay, there is a light. And there's specific things that I start with. And then once you get that little bit of light, then everything else in your life seems to get better. And you know what, it starts rolling in the right direction. But don't try to change everything at once. You have to start with the most critical thing and then move on from there.
Can I perhaps take a step back, because I mean this is, I suppose, increasingly common, and maybe I should ask that rather than state it. To change that to a question, do you think this is increasingly common with the challenges we've had with the economies on both sides of the pond and with other issues, or have you not noticed a difference, you know, driven by economics? Has it always been like this in your experience?
Well, I think people are much more, and this is just my personal opinion, so much more cautious now in their lives because of the economy and how so many people have lost so much. So the risk-taking, you know what I mean, what people might have done years ago, in my personal opinion, people aren't buying, you know, people aren't buying as much. People are like trying to stay more in a safe zone because they know what they've lost and they're trying to rebuild. So it's sort of this catch-22, because I'm always saying go for it, but at the same time, you know, I don't want you to risk it all. So that's why, I mean, the name of my company is SmartChic. I want you to go for it, but I want you to do it in the smart way. I want you to have a plan. I don't just want you to just say, you know what, I'm going to give up my job and I'm going to start this business and, you know, I'm going to just go for it and not have a real plan. You can do things, you can really go for it, but I'm very much into strategy and always having backup plans, doing it in the right way. So,
yeah, I'm going to invite Sandra in a second, but it does remind me of an earlier question, and I absolutely agree with you. We can get very evangelical, can't we, and think, you know what, I'm so inspired. I've done the firewalk. I've seen Tony Robbins, and I love him. I think he's great, and I did the firewalk, and I honestly thought I could do anything, and I probably could and can. But also, your bit about strategy is really important, isn't it? Because had I then jacked my, to use the English term, the UK term, jacked my job in and threw the towel in and thought, evangelically, this is it, I'm going to be the great guru of whatever, that wouldn't have been a strategic move. So what you're talking about, Cynthia, I really like. You're balancing the motivational element with the strategic and tactical element, which I think is brilliant. And I think it'd be really important to share some tips as we move on. But the question I had for you was, given that it's you that's the CEO of SmartChic, have you always been like this yourself? Have you always been goal-oriented and very, very positive, or has that been a journey for you as well?
It has been a journey. You know, I recently were talking to some friends of mine from way back. I come from a really small town back in Massachusetts. That's where I grew up. And so people have said, you know what, you've always been a go-getter and positive and that sort of thing. But as far as going for it in life, you know, getting out of your comfort zone and that sort of thing, my backstory is that, you know what, I came from a town, from a family that really stays in their safe zone. My mom and dad, hard workers, blue-collar workers, and you know what? Honestly, they were on here today, they would say, you know what, yeah, I really didn't go for it. You know what, I took a job and I worked at it for 40 years. I would have loved more, but you know what, I just stayed within what I was comfortable with. And for me, you know, I looked at that and said, you know what, I didn't want that. You know what I mean? I just didn't want to be living in the same town where I grew up, limited opportunities. So it was interesting. A lot of, you know, your background, you come from your parents and go, well, that's what I want to do because they're doing that. It kind of was motivation for me to do something different.
Okay.
You know, do something different. And they're very proud of that. They're like, give definitely didn't come from us. We inspired you, we told you to do whatever you wanted, but you know what, their lives, they're in their 70s now, and you know what, they just always lived in their safety zone. So, and they have regrets, and I refuse to do that, and I say that to my clients, you know what I mean? Life speeds on by, and you keep on saying, I'll do that in 5 years, and another couple years I'm going to do that. I heard that over and over and over through my life, and you know what? Life gets cut short sometimes. We really have to live now and really go for it, again, but with a strategic plan.
Yeah, I would invite Sandra in, but my thought just before I call you in, Sandra, is that I bet if we could see everybody who's on in the film strip, I bet there'd be a lot of nodding heads there. Not because we're not positive people, but I guess simply because there is a realization, isn't there, that nothing is forever. And if we put things off and procrastinate, suddenly, we can have a life full of regrets. And far better to go the way that you've described, Cynthia, and step outside your comfort zone, even though it's a bit uncomfortable and even though it's testing. So, Sandra, you look as though you're itching to come in here. So, Sandra, go for it.
Well, one of the things that I've noticed, Cynthia, is that you have a way of coming out bold and strong right away. The way you sit, the way your voice is, all of that. That's very obvious that you have strength. And a lot of women don't have that. And so what would you say to someone that doesn't, that probably came from a child. You've probably always been pretty strong, and certainly the career path that you've taken, you've been around a lot of tough, difficult situations for a woman to be in. So you've had to be stronger than the feminine side, maybe. What would you say to that young girl or that young woman that says, wait a minute, I can't be like Cynthia. I don't have that strength. I'm scared. I can't even talk like that. I can talk a little bit soft, but I can't come out like this.
They can do it. It is a process. It was a process for me. You know what? I was actually kind of quiet. I was outgoing, but at the same time kind of quiet, and definitely not as, bold, I guess we would say, that I am today. But these are the tips I would have to say to the young people, and I always do this when I talk in front of groups of girls and stuff like that, and even women, is that, you know what, if you're not confident in yourself, right, the first thing is stop looking to anybody else to make you happy and to try to bring that confidence level out in you. Wow. First, it starts, number one, with yourself. You need to take responsibility for your life. If you hate your life, you're not confident, and you want to get confidence and get happy, you have got to own it and say, you know what, no one else can do it except me. So first, you have to own it. Number two, the first thing that I always do, this is a super tip in that, you know what, bottom line, if you want your life on the outside to be good, you have to take care of yourself on the inside. Number one, are you exercising? Are you eating right? Are you emotionally every day doing something good for yourself? That's where I always start, the wellness part of it. If you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not eating right, you're not reasonably doing some sort of exercise program, you know what, it's going to show to everybody else on the outside. And how you project yourself, it's going to show. So taking care of yourself. The third thing I would say is look around you. Who are you hanging out with? Who are you spending your time with? Who are you talking with every single day? There are a lot of negative, toxic people that, you know what, just, maybe sometimes they mean it, a lot of times they don't, but they just drag you down. They may not believe in your dream or what you want to do. You have to make a choice of who you're going to surround yourself with. And I'll give a quick example of that in business, is that I've got a lot of great friends, and then I've got some really great business friends. So, you know what, I've got people that I go out with and have a nice drink and have dinner, and we talk about shoes and whatever, just life, news, family, that sort of thing. But if I want to talk business and I want to talk about growth and different things that I'm doing, I'm not going to talk to them about that, because you know what? They don't get that part of my life, and that's okay. Is that you've got to surround yourself who are really smart business people, business women, businessmen, who are smarter than you, in order for you to grow and to be inspired to do more with your life. So it is huge, the people that you surround yourself with, and that's what I focus in on my business a lot about, is community and building people up and connecting quality people to other quality people.
Yeah, oh, sorry.
I was going to say, in that reference, what was one of the changing points for you to get out of a system of corporate, if you will, and go into what you're doing? What was a turning point? Did someone say something that just resonated with you that said, oh, wait a minute, this makes sense, that somebody else might be able to pick up on? I mean, there had to be a time when because you stepped out of your comfort zone.
Huge step out of my comfort zone. It really was it was an informal mentoring relationship, but I was doing all these things, in big corporations, and someone said to me, you know what? You could be running your own company. You know what I mean? It was somebody that really believed in me and saying, you know what? You could do this. You have got the smarts. You have got, the determination, the rituals of a business owner, and there's certain things that you need to do for a business owner to be successful. But it was someone believing in me and also giving me a tool, which again is a lot about mentoring, having the right tools, that I just didn't believe this person and go, okay, I want to be a business owner, throw away everything and let's just start. Referred me to someone to talk to, someone who had been there, done that. A mentor, basically someone that I could speak with and say, hey, so what's the real deal about this business ownership stuff? What do I need to do? So that's where it really started, was that I got connected to people who have been there, done that. And from there, once I started feeling that confidence that, I had some tools and, and the strategy to go forward, then there was that transition. But, some people just leap into it and are very successful. For me, I don't think that's very smart. I think you need to have a financial plan. You need to have some savings going into being an entrepreneur. Don't just go in there and not have any money saved up. And a real plan on how you're going to get to where you want to be in the straightest line possible.
I'm going to pull some comments up because, in terms of what's come up, just a quick summary from me in terms of what you said that I think is so awesome, and then I'll bring some comments up. You've talked about peer groups, and you've talked about who you surround yourself with, and what I really like there, Cynthia, was you made the distinction between you might have one set of friends for a certain area and then a set of business friends for another area. There'll be certain conversations you'll have with the different groups that will change, because even though by you, they may become negative maybe when it comes to business because they just don't understand. You've spoken about strategy.
May I jump in?
Yeah.
Or just the fact that, you're throwing out an idea. Hey, listen to your friends, and the people who are not business owners, and you say, what do you think of this idea? Of course your friends are going to say, that's fantastic, or, they just don't know. They want to support you as a friend. A real business friend is going to say, you know what? May I suggest, or or look at a different angle to this, that sort of thing. So I just found that my friends that have been with me forever, they were just like, you know what, you're awesome, you'll make it work, and you know what, the idea really sucked. When I talked to my business friends, they said, you know what, in my experience, this, has not worked, so how about, or may I suggest to do something like that? That's what you need. You need someone who's going to tell it to you straight and is going to positively challenge you to do it right.
And you've got freedom to do that to them as well. So you get get this great community where you give and take and challenge, and people are truthful, which is fantastic. Dave put a comment up again. It does hearken to that, but also your earlier point about strategy. Now we'll pull this one up. I think everyone can read that, but basically, Dave, I always tell people to go for it, but going for it without planning or strategy is irresponsible. Irresponsible is not in the vocabulary of successful people. I particularly like that last bit. So,
love that.
Yeah, I think that's great.
I just have to say, I just have to give a huge shout out to Dave, because Dave, if there was a company called Smart Dude, he'd be on the top of the list. So I just want to give a big shout out to Dave Moore, because he is awesome and he is always giving out smart tips out there. So I just wanted to say hi to him.
Dave, for you. There we go, sir. There we go. I managed to get that right. I thought I was going to blow that. So, well done, Dave. Have I taken the comment off? Because that's the bit I probably won't get right. Can everyone see me? Yeah. Cool. So that's good. Sandra, we've had some great comments there. Strategy. Don't just jump into an entrepreneurial venture because it seems the right thing to do. Have some substance behind it. But I'll tell you one conversation we did have. It may sound like I'm going a slightly different way. These are universal truths, wouldn't you agree, Cynthia? Whatever your gender, whether you're male or female, there are some basic truths. But we had a great conversation in the green room about why you chose particularly to focus on women in this context through the SmartChic business. So can you share with us why you've gone down that path rather than try and coach everybody? Because I think it's a really interesting distinction.
Well, in general for business, and one of the the things when you start off as a business owner, you've got it all looks bright and shiny, and you know what? You want to get your message out to the world. And one of the biggest mistakes that I made as a business owner was thinking that my business was for everybody. Everybody needs SmartChic services, young, old, men, young boys, to say that, you know what, of course, aspects of your business could be out for everybody, but to be successful, and what I found in my own life was that it wasn't successful when I was trying to market and get my business out to everybody. What you really have to do right from the beginning is decide who do you want to work with, who are your ideal clients, and really niche your business out to a particular group of people. Once I started niching out to who I really ended up really wanting to work with, women and girls and stuff like that, I just saw people really getting drawn to what I do. So, you know what? I'm all about empowering women. I love men, love women. I will mentor, anybody. But, just when you really look at it, what keeps you up at night excited? What gets you really going in the morning? And I love to see a girl getting confident, feeling, you know what, I can do anything. Seeing a woman that, you know what, might have been doing everything for everyone else in their life and making the decision that, you know what, now is my time. It's my time to do something for myself. And seeing that transition from taking care of everybody else and now taking care of themselves and reaching huge goals, you know what? That really gets me going. So that's why I'm so passionate about it. And you know what, SmartChic, just in general, I am where I am today. My strategy is to help every woman, try to go for it in life. But my long-term goal is that I want SmartChic to be a lifestyle brand. I've got trademarking for clothing and other things. So you know what? So again, that strategy. Do what you can today, but where do you want to go once? But where I am today is what I'm doing, but the end goal is that I want SmartChic to be worn on every single, on every single woman and girl in one aspect or another.
I'm wondering if I could, for the purpose of wearing the brand, be an honorary girl just for... No, we won't go there. Sorry, that was the wrong thing to say. I've lost all the audience now. Everybody's disappeared.
Bye-bye.
Come back. I was only kidding. Yeah. I think that's brilliant because what you've said there, Cynthia, is exemplary. You're actually walking the walk, aren't you, and talking the talk. You're coaching by example. And when you talk about strategic vision, you've also got your own strategic vision. So everything's really congruent. And I think for any coach, any mentor, any trainer, anybody who's in a leadership position, whatever that may be, unless they actually exemplify the philosophy that they're talking about, it's nonsense. And clearly you do. Now, my question to Sandra would be, Sandra, you've obviously had a number of businesses, and you are a female entrepreneur. Would you have liked someone like Cynthia batting for you when you set up some of your businesses?
It would have been so nice to have somebody like that to talk to, for sure. When I was doing it, not very many women were in businesses to begin with. I mean, it's exploded. I would say certainly in the last 8 years, I've seen more of an explosion of people in general getting into business. But at the time that I did it, there were not as many women in business for themselves. It wasn't as acceptable to have someone that you could talk to that could say, look, I've done it this way, maybe you could try that. That wasn't there. So yeah, it would have been great. And it would have, the thing of it is, you know, it's finding people like you. Now that we have social media, it makes it easier. But still, in all of that, it's still many times is like finding that needle in the haystack at the right time. So, you know, social media is great because it gets the word out, but finding them at the right time.
Mm-hmm. Actually, there's a question there, Sandra, isn't there? Because we were talking about it in the green room. I suspect we might be leading to how does Cynthia reach out and find her audience, and equally how do people find Cynthia? So is that where you were going with that, Sandra?
I hadn't even thought about it, quite honestly, Sean. But I think honesty is the best policy, but I was, in my mind, I was thinking, gee, where would I have found her? Because she wouldn't have been in the industries I was in. And when you're involved in your businesses and everything, you are so intent on that, you don't always have the flexibility to find that source maybe. Of course, now it's more acceptable. They have more groups getting together and mentoring. I mean, you didn't even hear the word mentoring that much. You had to search for a mentor. Is there an organization for mentors, you know? Maybe that's something you could say to people.
Yeah, there's something out there for everybody if you search long and hard enough. And again, as an investigator, I could find it for you. But
well, Google wasn't even around at that point, you know, like it is now. So it's a different question for a different era. That's like the Stone Ages, really. Right. You go back 5 years and things change so much just in 5 years.
Right, right. Well, I mean, I don't know, Sean, if that's sort of the question, but I can kind of roll into sort of, you know, where I find my people and stuff like that. Like, for example, Dave Moore, who's on here, you know what? He's been connected with me for years now, you know, and where did we connect with each other? On social media. Where do I get a majority of my clients? I've actually gotten them through social media. Yeah, what an amazing, amazing thing for business owners. That we've got Google+, Twitter, LinkedIn, it doesn't matter what, you know, form, Facebook. It's absolutely unbelievable how we can touch the lives of people, not just in our own town, cities, you know, states, is that worldwide, if you do it right, you can get clients and you can get friends and business mentors, just people that, you know what, to just throw off ideas with through social media. So, yeah, you know what? Over the last couple years, I've developed an amazing, supportive tribe, community, whatever you want to call it, SmartChics, and that have become friends in my inner circle and have turned into clients.
It's a really good point. I know we're moving to the marketing side, but clearly a lot of your clients are business women or want to be business women. So in the context of what you've just said about social media and your learnings, if I were one of your clients and I was about to set up my business, but I was nervous, if I was one of your female clients, what advice would you give me, Cynthia, about how to use social media effectively to start engaging with my clients for my business? Because you're certainly an expert on that.
Well, I would say that I have my own personal experience. I've had my own challenges and my own successes, so I've gone through the walk. So I would say that I know what now works and what doesn't work. So I would say that I'm an expert in my own business. So, you know, I don't want to talk about anybody else's. I can only talk from personal experience. Okay. The brand new person that's going to start a business, and I just suggested this with someone who has come on with me for a 6-month mentoring thing and wants to start a business and stuff like that. I said, you know what, don't wait. Don't wait to get the business ownership to start getting on social media. This is one thing I did right. Before I even started SmartChic, I started getting social media, my branding together on what worked. I started putting out tweets, and I started, putting articles out there and stuff like that. So start today. I mean, start today putting your message out. If you have a gift, if you have something to say it. Get a Twitter account, get a Google account, and start getting a tribe. So even before I started my business, I had a following of people that just resonated with what I had to say, and I resonated with them. So number one, I would say start. Don't be a perfectionist and wait till you have all the ducks in a row to get going. So number one, I would say start. Number two, don't worry about whether you have 100 followers or whether you have 10,000 followers. And I know Dave Moore just said something out there today on social media about his tribe, and it's so important. It is the quality of people that you have in your tribe versus the quantity. Who cares if you've got 100,000 people that want nothing really to do with you other than have their followers? Yeah, to some it'd be like, oh, they must be more important because they have 100,000 versus 10,000 people, whatever, or 100. You want the people that are loyal to you. You want the people that are going to be supporting you and sharing your information and resonating. And you know what? Bottom line, you're a business owner. You hope to have some of those people hire you on. So work on getting the quality people and being really awesome to your community, your tribe. And what I mean by that is not just post, tweet, that sort of thing. Support your community. If you support the people in your followers, in your tribe, and you're sharing and you're, putting comments and liking and stuff, the people that have supported you, they're going to be loyal to you forever. It is all about, we're all in this together. That's what I always say, is that alone, sure, we can do a lot in our lives, but you know what? I couldn't do my business effectively or be as successful as I am without the Dave Moores, without the Sean Manns out there, that people that believe in me, that are sharing my stuff and pumping me up and inviting me on to radio shows like this. So, Google Hangouts, whatever, but I wouldn't be where I am without the support of my community.
Yeah, I mean, good old Dave as well. Actually, by the way, I've got to mention that I've got the great privilege of being in Dave's HPT transformation community, and again, Dave reaches out, and this is totally unrehearsed. Dave hasn't slipped me a couple of dollars through some magical device. Although you could, Dave, if you particularly want to, I'd be more than grateful. But Dave does this. And actually, I'm going to shout out again to you, Dave, another comment. Seems to be the Dave Show. Amazing. I know he's quite an expert in influence. But isn't that true? Isn't that exactly what you just said, Cynthia? A solo business owner is solo no more with social media. Maybe with the caveat that it's the quality, though, of your engagement in your tribe, as you've said. You know, 10,000, 100,000, it doesn't matter. If it's good engagement, I'd rather have 500 really good, really engaged people that I can serve and they respond with me and they become part of my funnel than 50,000 ambiguous people who I never see and don't really care if I post or not. So that's a really good point. Sandra, you're a bit of a marketing guru. I take it that you agree with Cynthia on that one, don't you?
Oh yeah, and in fact, you and I have talked about this many times. One of my first conclusions in social media was it wasn't about the numbers; it's about the quality of it, and that's life in general. Anyway, certainly we want to have them, but how much can I really participate in tens of thousands of people, and how much can they really participate in me, and what does that mean? Now, if I have a brand that has to sell millions of pieces because it only costs a penny, and quantity is of the utmost, that's a different story. But that's not what we're talking about here anyway, and in general we're not. So I want people that really believe in what I do, and you do too. I mean, that's what you've just said. We all do. We want people that are not just out there floating the boat for the fun of it. It's like, no, I want serious. When you are saying something about me, I want it to be coming from the innermost part of you that means it. And the same thing, if I say something about you, it's going to be because I mean it. It's not going to be fluff. That's not important. And if you look at the differences, you know, one of the things that, as far as if you talk about marketing, if you have 20,000 people that are following you, and on every post you have 8 people that post, what is the percentage? But let's say you have 500 people, but of others, every time you post, you have 3 or 4. What's the percentage? And when you figure that out, then you won't feel so bad about numbers.
Right, exactly. And if I could just add just a few other things, just as far as the new business owner and getting social media work for you. Again, to Sandra's point, you know, you're not trying to get your thing out to millions. You're trying to reach your ideal client. Stuff is that don't be afraid to reach out and say hello to someone who is a rock star in your social media community. I know so many people that just, you know, they tweet, they post. I'm like, have you ever talked to them? They're like, no. I'm like, get on a Google call, get on the phone, and just take 10 minutes and say, hey, listen, I just wanted to say hi and thank you for being so supportive of my business and what I do, and what can I do to support you? Just 5 minutes of that is going to go such a long way with your community and your tribe. So I've done things like, if you are familiar with Google Hangouts like this, people that have tweeted with each other and they tweet with me or they share, I've said, you know what, let's all get on a Google Hangout for 10 minutes and let's just introduce one another and put a face to the name. And now those connections have become so much stronger since we've done that. It was basically like a coffee hangout. Get your cup of coffee and let's just talk about something for a couple minutes, and let's get off the typing, off the computer, and since we can't meet in person, let's meet online and deeper the connection. It works. It just works.
Yeah,
that's a brilliant idea.
Did we say that? No, we said that in stereo. Look at that. That's amazing.
Do it.
It's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, I think it is, and it's one of those things. I suppose putting myself in the place of somebody who's about to start a business. And thinking of some of your potential clients, that's a great confidence booster for them as well, isn't it? Not only are they building a tribe, but the more they do that and the more positive feedback and the more value they add, again, the more growth that they're potentially going to get in terms of building a quality community. So that is absolutely fantastic. I'm going to put a couple of little comments on, and then we're getting a bit of clamour for the infamous smash and trash, which we have to do, and then we're going to come back after smash and trash, and I'm going to invite Cynthia to give us 4 or 5 take-home tips and share with us how we can connect with her for those people that want to work with Cynthia further, and I'm sure a number of people will. So first of all, I'm very pleased to say that Dave has actually said the check is in the post, so thanks, Dave. Really appreciate that. I hope it's got a couple of zeros after it. I certainly hope it has. Adam, this is quite a funny one. Adam, actually, it goes back to a point you made, although Adam's making quite a comical point as well. You mentioned some of your clients are in places, well, I suppose we've got to take responsibility, of course, for where we are in our own lives. But at the same time, Adam says, sometimes through no fault of your own, your tribe has made questionable life choices. Through no fault of your own, your tribe has made questionable life choices. I'm thinking here of journalism and the crowd we attract and cover and avoid at the bar. So thanks very much for that witty comment there, Adam. Can I just pull it down? Probably not. Man, I can't get it off. Sandra, bail me out if you would.
I don't know which one you're trying to put up.
No, there we are. I'm going to put it down now. Tanya's mentioned a couple of good points again about tribe, and it's not the volume or the number that you've got. Absolutely, it's the quality. So again, some great endorsement, and we've got quite a number of other comments just supporting.
You know, this one I think is good, Sean, from Dave Moore, where he hashtag smart mentor, and then Adam Music comes back with hashtag smart SMRT mentor MNTR and shortens it. But I think that the whole thread there is, yeah, get on that smart mentor, and that's what you've been talking about, Cynthia. It's very good.
Yeah, definitely.
I love it, Adam. Thank you.
Yeah, and also on a serious note, don't wait to take action. That's one of the things that comes back. Don't wait for all your ducks to be in a row, as you said, Cynthia. Don't wait for that moment when everything is all the stars, everything in the universe is conspiring to make you great. Take action now, because that's going to take you a lot further in the long run.
Sean, can you read this one and ask Cynthia to respond to this maybe? I think this is something that a lot of people, because of what you said, Cynthia, about, you know, contacting people and how can I help you, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I certainly read it. Very happy to. Sandra, a PR person called me to thank me for doing a video on one of her clients and didn't actually want anything. It was nice, though I had no idea to react. So, Cynthia, if this was you and somebody thanked you for doing a video or doing an article or doing a piece, and then didn't want to have any reciprocation or any acknowledgement, although you'd probably feel good about it, what would you do? What advice would you give Adam here?
Oh, wow. You know what? Well, I think definitely the acknowledgement of the thank you from the person that, you know, gave it to you. I mean, I think it's just nice for you to do that. So, I mean, even if they don't want anything, I would definitely send them either a nice note, call them up, that sort of thing. Just, you know, it's the little things that mean so much. So that person took the time. Like I said, with the social media, someone shares something of mine, of course, I'm going to share something of theirs and do something for them. So, you know, reciprocate. And it doesn't have to be anything big, just a little something, you know. I love little handwritten notes. I mean, I'm back to, you know, I've gotten one of those recently, and I was just like, you know what? That's gone away. You know, the emails and the texts, a nice handwritten note goes a long way.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, we've got about 10 minutes left, so we're just going to shake it up a little bit, and we're just going to do, I hope you're ready for this, Cynthia, because you've blown us away. So I bet you will be. You will be, you will be. So what we're going to do, if I can put me back on, is and look at that incredible resemblance. A young, the son of a good friend of mine did this caricature of mine. He's certainly got the eyes right and the spiky hair anyway. But this is the smash and trash moment. And for those of you who haven't seen the show, and I should reverse it, it should be trash and smash. What I like to do is invite everybody who comes on the show to share a little thing that's maybe irked them, just, you know, not really made their week, and then we're going to finish on a high, and we're going to finish on the smash. So what has absolutely rocked their world, rocked their boat this week, and Cynthia, I know, is going to have stuff that's absolutely awesome for us. So take it away, Cynthia.
Wow, you build me up, Sean.
I have.
I don't know if it's going to be, you know,
earth-shattering. It will be. It will be.
I guess we're starting with the trash, right? The stuff that disliked or something. You know what? I was in a group this week of, you know, people that I knew, and I know some people that are going through some tough times right now, and I always talk about gratitude and all this kind of stuff, and this person in this group was just pissing and moaning about a material thing that he couldn't get, that, you know what I mean, that, you know, just material stuff, things, and you know what, those are his goals, is all material stuff. And you know what, to me, you know what, I've learned through much experience in my life, you know, it's nice to have nice things, but bottom line is, this person really needs to look at what the important stuff is in life. You know what I mean? Is that all that stuff you can't take with you. You know, you really, you get it. You know what I mean? The stuff isn't everything in life. It's not anything, really. It's about your happiness and what you're doing and what you're providing to value to this world. And, you know, who do you have in your life for relationships and that sort of thing. So that irks me when people just talk about material stuff.
I thought you said you weren't going to blow us away. That's a brilliant crash. So,
I did my best, but
no, that's God. I don't know if I'll come out with something extraordinary, Sean. You just come out with this amazing. So that's cool. So what's your smash?
Well, you know, the smash I have to do with one of those things. I'm shaking with excitement, and I just want to plaster this woman's picture all over social media. A 67-year-old woman just contacted me, you know, to do some mentoring with me, that she is ready to change her life and start a business. And first time at 67 years old. And you know what? You go, girl. I am just so excited. It just shows people that, you know what? She should have done it earlier, but you know what? She is where she's at. She's ready now, and she's going for it. And her friends around her are going, retire. Just relax. Don't do it. You know what I mean? And she's saying, you know what, forget about it. You know what, I do not want to live my life with regrets anymore, and she's going for it. So that is my absolute smash.
That is a brilliant smash. Round of applause for that one, Cynthia. That was absolutely terrific.
All right.
And in all seriousness, what a great message! It just shows, it's better if you start earlier, but it's better to start than never to start at all. So what a great message for all of us. I love that, Sandra. That's a tough act to follow. What are you going to say? The challenge.
I'm going to say pass, because after that, and you know what I'm going to say, Sean. It's going to be, last night we were -9 degrees here in Denver. And we went on Sunday at 68. We're out enjoying the beautiful weather, and then the next day it comes in and with a splash. And oh my gosh, the good thing for me, and I like the way you said it, Cynthia, irked you. I mean, it irked me that winter actually came in, and it's like, how could that happen? But then the smash part was, I didn't have to go out in it.
Woohoo! 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 We love it.
I know.
Well,
and that's the end of mine.
Do you know? You have every right. I was going to do the weather. I was going to do the weather as the trash. But then I kind of thought the weather in the UK is not. What did you say? It was
-9 degrees.
Well, I struggle because I think in terms of degrees Celsius, degrees centigrade, but it's probably about 50 degrees here at the moment, and I was able to, as you would imagine, with this incredible physique that I've got, clearly I run every day, it goes without saying, but I managed to drag myself out in weather that I thought was cold. It certainly was not as cold as you're describing, Sandra. So you've quite rightly taken one of my trashes, so very quickly, my trash at the moment, as soon as we change the clocks, I don't know if it happens to you guys over the other side of the pond, so as soon as we alter the clocks and it seems to get dark a little bit earlier, I notice, and I drive about 1,000 miles a week seeing clients, so I do drive quite a lot. I notice that road rage seems to, for the first week or two, until people get used to coming back home when it's dark, road rage seems to escalate. And I've noticed in the very congested roads that we have in the UK, we may not do the miles that you guys do, but by God, we sit in traffic jams and we sit in snarl-ups forever. The amount of people thumbing their nose at me and doing things like that through no fault of my own, because I'm a great driver, is a real issue. So that's my trash. Okay, but my smashes, I have two, one of which is a little serious because I'm a bit of a geek, and one of which is light-hearted. My geeky one is I was really blown away by the news from the European Space Agency of the landing on a comet, and I was particularly blown away by the statistics. So apparently I may have got this bit wrong, but apparently it was a 4 billion mile journey. I can't believe that. It must have been 4 million mile journey to a 4 billion year old comet. If you think about the engineering for that, 25 years in the planning, and we did it as, we're talking about coaching, we're talking about visualization, we're talking about improvement, but think when we all pull together as a community, because the scientists were a community, what can we achieve? And why don't we focus on the good stuff instead of the crap? That's kind of a semi-trashy bit, but leading to a smash. And then my more comical smash, I don't know if anyone in the stream ever watches Duck. Now I'm going to say it with a UK accent, Duck Dynasty, Duck Dynasty. Duck Dynasty, my dears. If any of you do watch that, I was delighted as a bit of a fan of the show to read that there is going to be a musical, and I'm certainly going to be buying a ticket. And it's going to be launched in February in Las Vegas, actually, one of your old stomping grounds, Cynthia. So if you want to buy a ticket, I'm sure, Cynthia, they give you a special exemption because of what you've done in the past. But it's going to be an extraordinary musical. It's going to last about 90 minutes a show, and it's guaranteed to run for at least 3 months, apparently. A spokesman apparently said, the Robertsons are so unusual, their story's so juicy, we deserve to bring it to the world. So rock on the Robertsons, rock on Duck Dynasty or Duck Dynasty or however you say it. So there's my smash, there's my trash.
That is serious.
That is seriously bad news, isn't it? That's deadly serious.
Wow.
Absolutely. You watch this space. I'll make sure you get tickets. But so we have about just around 5 minutes, and I'm really keen that you shared so many good things with us, Cynthia. So I'm really keen to get to share some final pointers. So maybe to ask you if there were 3 or 4 things that you could leave us with to think about. Bearing in mind that our audience is mixed male and female, some people have got their own businesses, some people are about to start. But if there are 3 or 4 key tips, what would you suggest to us that we can action straight away? And then after that, I'm going to invite you to share the different ways that you want people to connect with you, where people want to work with you further.
Okay, some super tips for people is that, you know what, business is hard enough, right? You got a lot to do. Go with your real gifts, okay? Don't try to mold yourself into something that you're not. Start writing down today, what are you really awesome at? If you're a great speaker, go with that gift and have something to do with your business, having to do with your verbal skills. If you're good in writing, do something with writing. Don't do something that you're trying to learn or that you want to be good at. If you really want to be successful, what are you good at with your eyes closed?
Brilliant.
Business is a lot of work. Do something that you're really awesome at and that you're really passionate about. Number 2, you're going to get tons of advice from people, okay, from your friends, family, business associates on what you should do. Is that I always am about trust your gut. Take all that advice, listen to everybody, but then the decision needs to come within you. What feels right to your values? What feels, in your gut, what you really want to do? So don't do anything because someone else wants you to do it. Do what feels right to you. And you know what? I'm in the mentoring business, but doesn't matter if you hire me, somebody else, or you have informal mentoring relationships. Get yourself a mentor. Get yourself several mentors, informal, and if you can do a formal mentoring relationship, because you know what? Sometimes in business you feel very alone, especially if you're doing it from your own home and you're not out there with tons of people and you don't have staff. Sometimes it's you, your computer, and the 4 walls. It can become very lonely.
Very true.
And sometimes, you know what, you beat yourself up so much, and you know what, there's other people going through what you're going through, and there's people that have walked your walk. And so, you know what, don't do it alone. Get people that are smarter and more experienced than you, and people that will support you and inspire you. Let me tell you, business is a curvy road, but with a mentor, it will get a little bit straighter. So those are my, I would say, 3 tips. I think I gave 3 tips.
No, you actually. Well, I've written them down as 4, and
okay, well, 4. All right. Give you a bonus.
But I'm sure you've got loads more. Actually, with your permission as well, I've written them down, and there were some brilliant ones there. So if you're happy for me to post them afterwards,
absolutely.
I'd be more than happy to do that. Real gems. Sandra, I noticed you and thank you for that, Cynthia. Sandra, I noticed you were nodding in agreement on many of those. So was there anything there that particularly resonated with you, or how would you sort of summarize this hangout that we've had?
The one that I just love the most that you said, Cynthia, is go by your gut. I've been criticized many times for telling people, what is your gut saying? Because it doesn't make sense to people. It's like, well, there has to be a more scientific way. Well, that is pretty darn scientific. It's you. And it's what you are telling yourself is right. And when we go against that, almost always it's going to be wrong. And for me, it's always 100%. I can tell you. I always say, okay, what do you feel right in your gut? And so I totally agree with you. I'm so glad you said that.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Sandra. Do you know?
Oh, can I say just one other thing, please, please, please?
No, of course you can.
Well, at the very beginning of the show, and if someone would just hashtag this so that we don't forget it, I think it was very good. This is my one takeaway that you said, Cynthia, and I think I love the words, and that's called laser focused. I mean, as sharp as a knife, as sharp as a laser. I mean, how good is that? If we can just do that, go by your gut and stay laser focused on that.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yay! Laser focus.
That's it. The entire show, laser focused. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was good.
When we re-edit the HOA, Cynthia, we'll change the title totally. Laser focus it will be.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I love it too. Well, funny enough, Sandra, I've got to say we are often on the same wavelength, and you did steal my idea earlier about the weather, but I'll forgive you for that. But again, words really motivate me, and the first tip you gave us, Cynthia, the bit I particularly loved is do what you do and do what you could do really well. And this was the bit for me, with your eyes closed. I just love that. I thought, what a beautiful way of describing something that's your inner gift that you're so good at, even if you haven't recognized it in yourself, that you could do it with your eyes closed. I just love the way you put that. So for me, that was a real learning point. Thanks for that.
Awesome. Love it.
So Cynthia, in the last couple of minutes, I'm sure many people want to connect with you further. So how do you, put your teeth in, Sean, how would you like to be connected with, and what's your favourite platform? Which is a really rubbish question, so I'll put it in English. How would you like people to contact you further would be the English version of that question.
Well, I'll make it really laser focused. I'm not going to send them all over the place. We'll just say, you know what? I love to connect with people. If you go to my website, my social media buttons are on there, my email button's on there, so we'll just get you zoomed in just to my website, and I would love to hear from people. I'd love to hear about this show, obviously on the HOA, and just what resonated with you and what you're challenged with. But my website is smartchic.me, SmartChic.me, and my contact information's on there, my Google, Twitter, everything. So would love to hear from you. And I appreciate everybody that is supporting the show with Sean and Sandra. It's a great one, and I really appreciate being on here today.
Oh, that's really lovely, and we really appreciate you, Cynthia. And you know, it's really lovely when someone comes on with such a passion and energy and can give practical tips at the same time. And sometimes you get one element and sometimes you get the other, but you've wrapped it all up for me personally. So we've got some great strategies, great food for thought, as much as you can realistically get in an hour, and you've done it with great wit and passion. So really appreciate you, Cynthia. I blew it. My God. Oh dear, that was such a good speech, wasn't it? I'll have another swig of my whiskey and do it as well. But no, really great, Cynthia. So thank you so much for that. And we are at the end of the show. So I'd like to just ask Cynthia and Sandra, and obviously for myself, just say big thanks to the audience. Absolutely brilliant, and really look forward to seeing you on the next Successfully Social. And of course, make sure that you do check Cynthia out on www.smartchic.me. And thanks once again. Really enjoyed your company, everybody. Thanks, guys. Bye for now.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.